Okay, chapter 15, part 6. And this is the IV push. And there's a few more steps in it because we need a safe infusion time, and the safe infusion time is going to be over 15 seconds. So over to example 21. And the order is Ativan, 3 milligrams, IV push, 20 minutes, preoperatively. And my supply is Ativan, 4 milligrams per 1 milliliter. And then it says with drug literature guidelines. So my drug literature guidelines, I'm just going to put drug guidelines. IV infusion, not to exceed 2 milligrams per minute. And it's wanting to know how much we're going to administer and then what's the safe infusion time. The safe infusion time is how much are we going to give over 15 seconds. So the first thing we want to know is how much we're going to give. Okay? So this is our first thing. So how much will we give? And this is just like what we've been doing. Okay? What we did since chapter 10. We're going to take our doctor's order over 1 times our quantity over what we have on hand. So remember, this is our doctor's orders, the milliliters is our quantity, and what I have is the supply. So in this one, I'm going to want milliliters because I want to know how much I'm going to give. So the doctor's ordered 3 milligrams, and I have on hand 4 milligrams per 1 milliliter. So I'm going to have 1 milliliter on top, 4 milligrams on bottom. So my milligrams will cancel. And I have 3 over 4 milliliters. 3/4 of a milliliter is 0.75 milliliters. So that's how much I'm going to give. So that's my answer to number 1. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a safe infusion time. Okay, so this time it's what the doctor ordered or my desired over 1. And this time it's going to be time over what I have. But I'm using, this is from your drug reference. So in this case, the doctor ordered 3 milligrams, and then my 2 milligrams per minute, it goes down here for a second, the 1 minute, because that's my time, over my 2 milligrams. Milligrams cancel. I have 3 over 2 minutes. 3 over 2 is 1.5 minutes. Okay, so then also part of 2, I want to state my safe infusion rate, which is how much I'm going to give, which I'm going to call that, number 1, or the first thing we did, and it's over the second thing we did. So the 0.75 over the 1.5, and that's milliliters per minute. And I'm going to leave it like that for right now. And then the third thing I'm going to do is I want to know how much I can give at over 15 seconds. It's easier to give, a tenth of a milliliter over 15 seconds than trying to give 75 hundredths of a milliliter over 1.5 minutes. We break it down into 15-second intervals. We've still got the 0.75 milliliters in the syringe, but if we break it down into 15-second intervals and know how much to give every 15 seconds, or to push it through the 15 seconds, then it makes it easier and we don't give too much too fast or too little over too long, because maybe it won't work the way they want it to. So we're going to take our safe infusion rate, what we just found in number 2, times 1 minute over 60 seconds, because I want it to be every 15 seconds, and then times my 15 seconds. This part right here does not change. It's every part of this problem. So my safe infusion rate is what I found up here. So it's a 0.75 milliliters over 1.5 minutes times my 1 minute over 60 seconds times my 15 seconds over 1. Alright, so I know 15 goes into 15 once. It'll go into 64 times. My second cancels, my minutes cancel, and I'm looking for milliliters. So now I have 0.75 milliliters divided by 1.5 times 4. 1.5 times 4 is 6. So 0.75 milliliters divided by 6. And I get 0.125 milliliters. Well, remember, we're in a syringe, so we've got to round that. I'm giving 0.13 milliliters over 15 seconds. Now, it's not per 15 seconds. I'm not giving it and then waiting 15 seconds. I'm stretching that 13 hundredths of a milliliter over that 15 seconds. It's a continuous give. All right, so we're ready to do, let's look at another one. Maybe this time it'll be a little bit easier. So let's look at example 22. So I have an order for Cefox. I have no clue. It's 1,500 milligrams IV push every 8 hours. And then my supply is the same medication in a 2-gram powder, which means that we have to reconstitute it with directions for direct IV administration. Reconstitute each 1 gram in 10 milliliters sterile water, and give slowly over 3 to 5 minutes. All right. So the first thing we want to know is how much are we going to administer? But I know my order is 1,500 milligrams. My supply is 2 grams of powder. And I have to reconstitute it 1 gram in 10 milliliters. So for my supply, if 1 gram equals 10 milliliters, 2 grams is going to equal how many milliliters? 2 times 10. It'd be 20 milliliters. If I had 3 grams, it'd be 30 milliliters. Because for every 1 gram, I get 10 milliliters. So my supply is 2 grams per 20 milliliters. Now, since I'm in milligrams here, I can say 2,000 milligrams over 20 milliliters. Cancel my zeros. 2 goes into 200 100 times. So 100 milligrams per milliliter. This would be my supply once I've worked it all out, reconstituted it. Okay, so now how much am I going to give? I've got the 1,500 milliliters over 1. My 1,500 milligrams. I knew I was doing something wrong. So this should be 1 milliliter over 100 milligrams. Milligrams cancel, and I should be giving 15 milliliters. Okay. The second is the safe infusion time. Okay. So I want to know how many minutes I'm giving it over. So it's 1 gram in 10 milliliters over 3 to 5 minutes. So 1 gram in 10 milliliters. And I'm going to, since it's 1,500 milligrams, I'm going to go with the higher. And it's always better to opt with the higher amount. I've done this one wrong. Let me back up. I'm giving 1,500 milligrams. And it says give slowly over 3 to 5 minutes for 1 gram over 10 milliliters. It's actually going to end up being what my supply dose was, 100 milligrams per milliliter. But it's 5 minutes per 100 milligrams. Because they're saying giving the whole thing over 3 to 5 minutes. So my milligrams cancel. I can cancel 2 zeros here. So I have 5 times 15. And I get 75 minutes. So then my safe infusion rate is 15 milliliters over 75 minutes. And then the third thing I want to do is find out how much over 15 seconds. So I'm going to take my 15 milliliters over 75 minutes times 1 minute over 60 seconds times 15 seconds. And I probably should have reduced that. Both of these are divisible by 15. So that would give me 1 milliliter over 5 minutes. I still have to give the 15 milliliters. It still has to go over 75 minutes. This is still my safe infusion rate. So, but I can use it to find out how much I'm going to give over 15 seconds. I can use my reduced version. So 1 milliliter over 5 minutes times 1 minute over 60 seconds times the 15 seconds over 1. Now my seconds cancel. I know 15 goes into 64 times. Everything else is rowdy. Stop. My minutes cancel. So 1 milliliter over 5 times 4 equals 1 over 20. 1 divided by